All right, this is video number 10, the last video. We're going to try and close out strong here. I'm going to just quickly talk about kind of the wrap up of football season and then a little bit of that overlap with basketball with one of our games on the road at rival Villanova. And then we'll close out with just a quick kind of reflection and some last pieces of advice I guess I would give to you if you are looking at starting out a career in college sports. So at this point in the year, football and basketball had overlapped, and we had one more football game left, and we're really just starting to kick off basketball season. So a few days before our last football game of the year on the road to Princeton, our basketball team just went down the road in Philadelphia to play against Villanova. I'm gonna go ahead and actually just throw up some pictures here instead of more of an itinerary. I'm sure you guys are tired of that at this point. But for the Villanova game, since it is one of our bigger matchups during the year against what is considered a historically powerful program, we had a lot of alumni request tickets for that game. And as a result, both myself and our major gift officer made the trip up to that game with them. So unfortunately, we didn't get the best seats in the stadium, which, for a lot of away fans, that's kind of what you expect. But to my knowledge, it sounds like typically we've been behind the bench. So not exactly sure what happened there, but as soon as our donors started showing up, we started hearing the moans and groans, and people were kind of unhappy just to kick off the game before it even started. So then once the game started, kind of went as could be expected with a program like Villanova versus a smaller program like University of Pennsylvania. We actually kept it close until about the under 8-minute media timeout of the first half, and then really just got crushed after that. So that is a donor and alumni base that has been pretty disappointed and unhappy with the start of the season, and certainly something that we'll have to keep an eye on and pay maybe a little bit of extra attention to going forward. So after that game wrapped up, I was looking forward to the game on the road at Princeton to close out the football season. It was one we were favored in. Princeton wasn't very good this year, and even though we weren't having the best year, we were still doing much better than they were. So came out in the first half and really played well. Again, I'm just going to throw up a picture here so you guys don't have to see another itinerary. But, again, played well in that first half, and then second half just really stopped playing. Ended up losing by 3, so not the way you want to end a season, and it does leave our donors and our alumni with a bad taste in their mouth going into the off season this year and really the bulk of our fundraising time. So we'll have to figure out how to navigate that. One of the interesting things that did come out of that game was I had always wondered how teams managed to get cigars into stadiums for post-game celebrations, and I figured that out. So I won't go into any details on it, but just something that I thought was really interesting that thought I'd share, might pique your interest a little bit. It really seems like now that football season is over, we'll have just the one last weekly newsletter, and then by all indications, my schedule is going to get a little bit more open. There's just less daily work and weekly communications that go out on basketball. So I should see a little bit of a slowdown and a little bit more time to maybe get out and do some visits in areas that I need to fly to, or get up to New York a few more times during the middle of the week, so on and so forth. That pretty much wraps it up as far as the kind of task and really content of being an assistant director of annual giving goes. But now I do want to just kind of jump into a quick little recap of things that I've learned and maybe a little bit of advice for you if you decided that you want to get into college sports. So first and foremost, I want to just say that time management is so important in this role and really across working in college athletics. So my impression going into this job, while I knew that there was going to be more tasks than just setting meetings and going out and trying to get people to give money to the program, I don't think I fully appreciated how much admin work there really is. So it's very important that you try to find that balance between making sure that you are getting out on the road and meeting with people, and even if it's just on the phone or on a Zoom meeting, whatever it may be, finding the balance between doing that and still making time to do the admin work, like sending out a newsletter or pulling donor lists for your major gift officer, or identifying markets that you need to make sure you're doing a little bit more engagement with. So that was something that I struggled with at the very beginning. It was honestly overwhelming at times, but something I would say definitely keep in mind. The next piece is you're going to make mistakes. So don't take it personally when somebody says, hey, this isn't right, redo it. At the end of the day, it's all going to be a learning process, especially when you're starting out and you're doing new things. So for me, that was more the graphic design and the newsletter part of things. I made so many mistakes on my first and second newsletter that obviously you send it to people, you send a draft before you send it out, but just countless edits on my first couple of newsletters before I really got the hang of how the system worked and how these communications should look, because quite frankly, I'd never done anything like that before. So be open to feedback, know you're going to make mistakes, and just always try to keep improving. And the last piece of advice that I would give, and really it applies not just to college sports, but to any role that you have, college, professional, youth, whatever it may be, is don't forget to enjoy yourself. At the end of the day, you are working in sports, and the reason that you're working in sports, maybe it's because you played sports, maybe it's because you've been a lifelong fan and always wanted to try it, or maybe you just like the business world of sports, whatever it may be. It is such a special opportunity to be able to work in sports, and it's something that not many people get to do. It is a competitive industry, as you probably know by now, but whatever it looks like to make sure you're still enjoying that, whether it is taking a moment when you're working to stop and watch the game for a little bit, or having that opportunity whenever you can to, if you see a player, just say hello and have a quick conversation. Whatever that looks like for you, just make sure that you do take those moments, within reason and within what's allowed, to appreciate where you are and what you're doing. All right, and that wraps us all up. So I want to say thank you to all of you for following along on this journey of me starting out my career in college sports. I hope it was helpful for you. I hope you had some questions answered, got an idea of what it's like to start working in college sports, and maybe, if that's something that you want to do moving forward. So ultimately just want to say good luck to all of you as you pursue your career, whether that's in sports or not. And if you ever see me at a sporting event, professional, college, who knows where we'll all end up, please feel free to say hello. Thank you.